Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être venu aujourd'hui et bonne année. Comme vous le savez, après 8 ans, Justin Trudeau n'en vaut pas le coup. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, il a doublé la dette nationale, causé la pire inflation en 40 ans, imposé une taxe sur les fermiers, la nourriture et l'essence. Il a doublé le coût de logement après avoir promis de réduire les coûts. Maintenant, on apprend que ses propres ministères l'ont averti que leur politique en immigration allait alimenter le coût de logement de façon inacceptable il y a 2 ans. Et Sean Fraser, le ministre de l'Immigration dans le temps, a continué avec la même politique. Justin Trudeau l'a nommé après comme ministre de Logement, ironiquement. Donc, c'est inacceptable d'avoir un ministre de Logement qui savait que ces politiques contribuaient au problème d'inflation immobilière, un problème qui empêche les gens d'avoir une maison et qui alimente le problème d'itinérance. On a des sans-abri qui doivent vivre dans le froid cet hiver à cause des politiques de Justin Trudeau. En plus, on voit que la criminalité est en hausse à cause de la politique de libération automatique que Justin Trudeau et le Bloc québécois ont appuyé. Seulement le Parti conservateur a le gros bon sens pour renverser les politiques de Justin Trudeau. Notre plan de gros bon sens va plafonner les dépenses et éliminer le gaspillage pour équilibrer le budget et réduire l'inflation et les taux d'intérêt. On va éliminer les taxes que Justin Trudeau et le Bloc veulent augmenter. On va réduire les impôts pour que le travail redevienne payant encore pour les gens. C'est ça le gros bon sens. On va mettre des criminels récidivistes en prison tout en renversant des politiques qui interdisent les armes de chasse des gens dans les régions. Et finalement, on va bannir les terroristes, comme le corps gardien de la révolution islamique contrôlé par l'Iran. On voit que l'Iran, maintenant, est en train d'attaquer nos alliés dans le Moyen-Orient. L'Iran a instigé les attaques terroristes du 7 octobre. Et que fait Justin Trudeau? Il permet le bras terroriste officiel d'Iran d'opérer ici au Canada libre, sans sanction. Et selon Global News, il y a 700 terroristes, 700 agents du corps iranien qui sont libres de recruter les terroristes et d'harceler la population perse et juive ici au Canada. Nous, les conservateurs, allons bannir ces terroristes pour protéger notre population et contrer les mouvements terroristes à travers le monde. C'est ça le gros bon sens. Le gros bon sens veut réduire les taxes, réduire les impôts, réduire l'inflation, avoir des chèques de paie plus grands et des rues plus sécuritaires. Bonne année et j'espère que l'année 2024 sera l'année du gros bon sens. Thank you very much for coming. I'm here in Winnipeg to work on my tan. And it's great to be on the prairies once again with my wonderful colleagues from Manitoba and not just Winnipeg, but out in the rural communities of this wonderful province as well. We have Ted Falk, who's a businessman, he's been a long-standing member of the Finance Committee, doing a terrific job holding the government to account on finance and other matters, a great member of Parliament for Provencher. We have Raquel Dancho, who is a new mother, but still managing to do a great job as our public safety critic, pushing common sense solutions to put an end to the crime wave Trudeau has caused. We have Marty Morantz, the very first MP in Parliament to predict the inflation crisis when he asked the Governor of the Bank of Canada if money printing would cause runaway price increases. And Marty was right, and that's why I always listen to what Marty has to say. And of course, we have James Bazan, who is Parliament's strongest leading voice on rebuilding our armed forces and protecting our national security. We know that he will play a strong role in my future government in those policy areas. And we need it. We need all of that. We need all the common sense we can get, because after 8 years, Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost. Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost of 40-year highs in inflation. He doubled the national debt, printed $600 billion of cash, flooded our economy with easy money, which ballooned the price of everything. He's now hitting people with a carbon tax that drives up the cost of gas, heat, and groceries. Now, we all know that Liberal MPs from Winnipeg betrayed their constituents and voted against a Conservative motion to give the same exemption on carbon taxes for home heat to Winnipeg residents that the Prime Minister gave to other Canadians. But those Winnipeg Liberals voted against Winnipeg. They voted to raise your taxes. And as the temperature goes down and your home heating bill goes up, remember that your local Winnipeg Liberal MP voted to tax your home heat. When you walk outside and you shiver in this prairie cold, remember that Justin Trudeau and the NDP want to quadruple the carbon tax. They want to raise it up to 61 cents a litre, as well as raising taxes on your heat. Finally, this is a tax on food. These are trucks that require diesel. The carbon tax goes on that diesel, so everything transported in these trucks becomes more expensive because of the Trudeau tax on carbon and on diesel. And so when you see your grocery prices reach record highs, it's because Trudeau is taxing the farmer who made the food, the trucker who ships the food, and therefore all who buy the food. While people are desperate and struggling, we see them forced into homelessness. Homeless encampments, like we've never seen in our history, are common now in our streets. Crime, chaos, drugs and disorder runs rampant as Trudeau allows repeat violent offenders to get same-day bail and early parole. And finally, Justin Trudeau allows terrorists to operate freely in our country. Right now, as we see the Iranian government sponsoring terrorist attacks on our allies in the Middle East, we have 700 Iranian-backed IRGC terrorists roaming Canada's streets, according to the Global News report on that matter. 700 IRGC terrorists harassing the Canadian Persian population, intimidating Jews, possibly firebombing synagogues, and doing other outrages against our people. A common-sense Conservative government will ban the IRGC and make our country safe for our people. Common-sense Conservatives will cap spending and cut waste. We'll balance the budget to bring down inflation and interest rates. And, of course, common-sense Conservatives will keep the heat on by taking the tax off. Only common-sense Conservatives will axe the Trudeau tax for all Canadians. Common-sense Conservatives will lower income tax so people bring home powerful paychecks that reward hard work. We'll incentivize cities to speed up and lower the cost of building permits so that we can build homes people can afford and make rent and mortgages affordable, just like they were when I was Minister of Housing. When I was Minister of Housing, the average rent in Canada was half of what it is today. The average mortgage payment was half for a new house of what it is today. And we're going to bring home more affordable homes by removing the bureaucracy and the taxes to build, build, build. And we're going to make those homes in safe streets by bringing in mandatory jail time. Jail, not bail, jail, not bail for repeat violent offenders so that we can keep our streets safe and our people can enjoy their lives. We're also going to go after real violent criminals rather than targeting lawful, licensed firearms owners. We'll put the money into border security, not harassing duck hunters and farmers. See, Justin Trudeau wants to protect turkeys from hunters. I want to protect Canadians from criminals. And finally, we are going to protect Canadians against terror by banning the IRGC and ensuring that Canadians no longer have to worry about terrorist groups running free in our country. This is common sense, and I'm hoping that 2024 will be the year of common sense. Now let's bring it home.
Thank you so much. We'll now take 5 questions from the floor.
Mr. Poilievre, David Menzies with Rebel News. Mr. Poilievre, the Liberals use both a carrot and a stick to control journalists in Canada. The carrot is obviously government money, including massive payments to publishers and broadcasters. This corrupts their editorial independence. The stick is regulation, including censorship, banning reporters from press conferences, the CRA's journalism licensing regime, and the CRTC's new power to alter search engine algorithms. My question, sir, is this: which of these carrots and sticks would you keep as Prime Minister, and which would you repeal?
Thank you. We are going to repeal C-11, the censorship law, which allows CRTC bureaucrats to secretly manipulate social media algorithms to promote certain information, demote other information, and censor certain things altogether. This is a form of censorship that exists nowhere in the democratic world. Margaret Atwood actually said that this was creeping totalitarianism. This is Margaret Atwood. This is not a conservative, obviously not a conservative, but she's an artist, a true artist, who believes that freedom of expression and freedom of the press is necessary. We're going to stop arresting journalists. It's outrageous for the Prime Minister to have, and his government to have journalists arrested for merely for asking questions of ministers and public officials. And we're going to make sure that the government does not use tax dollars to leverage news coverage in its favor. Right now, Justin Trudeau is censoring those that he disagrees with and trying to buy off the rest. And that undermines confidence among Canadians in the news media.
Thank you. Next question.
Ian Frey, CBC. If you could also answer this in French, that'd be appreciated. Do you endorse Canada's support for the strikes in Yemen?
Yes. Oui. Yes. Look, the Houthi rebels are basically a proxy for the Iranian government. They've been interrupting vital trade routes, endangering allied soldiers and civilian sailors. They're operating basically as a Tehran-backed pirate outfit that is threatening international security, and a conservative government believes that the strikes are necessary in order to counter this threat. We also believe in banning the IRGC. We find it incredible that at a time when our allies are forced to strike, rebels that are backed by the Iranian regime, Justin Trudeau allows terrorists who are an official part of that regime to operate legally and with impunity on Canadian soil. A common-sense conservative government will ban the IRGC. Oui, nous sommes en faveur des actions prises par nos alliés afin de contrer les Houthis. C'est un organisme qui est appuyé par le gouvernement d'Iran, qui menace la sécurité internationale et qui harcèle et menace les soldats de nos alliés. Finalement, je trouve ça incroyable que Justin Trudeau est en train de permettre un groupe terroriste contrôlé, financé par l'Iran, qui est vraiment une bras de l'État iranien, d'être légal ici au Canada, de recruter, d'harceler notre population et d'intimider notre monde ici au Canada. Un gouvernement conservateur basé sur le gros bon sens va bannir le corps islamique, le gouvernement conservateur basé sur le gros bon sens va bannir le corps gardien pour la révolution islamique.
Thank you. Next question.
Bonjour, Anouise Michel pour Radio-Canada, RDI plus précisément. Que pensez-vous de la plainte de l'Afrique du Sud à la Cour internationale de justice? Ma sous-question, c'est Israël commet-il un génocide? Pardon, excusez-moi, j'apprécierais que vous répondiez aussi en anglais, s'il vous plaît.
Ah, vous me demandez de répondre en anglais?
Oui, en français. Oui, on travaille en collaboration avec CBC. Donc, mon collègue de CBC a demandé la question en anglais et en français, donc je retourne à faveur.
Vous me demandez de répondre en anglais.
En français,
OK.
bien évidemment.
Ça, c'est permis,
puis
donc,
en
OK.
anglais. Mais
comprends.
excusez-moi, je ne vois pas où est le problème.
Moi non plus. Merci de votre question. Premièrement, je trouve ça ridicule que le groupe Hamas est vraiment le groupe qui fait le génocide. Et ce n'est pas moi qui dis ça, c'est Hamas. C'est dans le chartre d'Hamas de vouloir commettre un génocide contre Israël. Ce n'est pas une accusation. Ils l'avouent. Donc pourquoi les États de l'ONU ne font pas un effort afin de condamner Hamas pour le terrorisme, en même temps qu'ils condamnent l'Israël pour avoir répondu à cette attaque du 7 octobre. Donc, on sait que l'attaque de 7 octobre était un effort de génocide par Hamas. Où est l'effort pour condamner Hamas pour le génocide? En plus, si on veut protéger les musulmans de génocide, pourquoi les pays ne font-ils pas un effort de condamner la Chine pour le traitement des Uyghurs ou le traitement des sunnites en Syrie par le gouvernement de Damas? C'est évident que c'est un effort politique et malhonnête pour cibler l'État d'Israël. Donc, nous ne sommes pas d'accord. Mais finalement, je veux souligner le cynisme de Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau demande à certains de ses députés de se prononcer pour les allégations contre Israël et d'autres de dire exactement le contraire à un autre groupe d'électeurs. Il veut convaincre des deux côtés du débat qu'il est d'accord avec chacun. Il veut dire n'importe quel à n'importe qui. Ce n'est pas un chef d'État. Il faut avoir une clarité morale. Vous pouvez être en désaccord avec moi, mais au moins, vous savez ce que je dis, parce que je dis la même chose, peu importe à qui je parle, contrairement à Justin Trudeau. Thank you for your question. I will, based on your request, answer it as well in English. First of all, let me point out the incredible, sinister, and hypocritical doublespeak of Justin Trudeau. He sends out some of his MPs to claim that they support calling Israel genocidal when they're talking to one group of voters. And then he sends out another group to say that they're against calling Israel genocidal. This is the cynical liberal strategy to say one thing to one group of voters and an entirely different thing to another group of voters, while Trudeau and Freeland say nothing at all, trying to have it both ways. If you're out there on either side of this debate on the Middle East, know that Justin Trudeau is lying to you. He's telling you whatever you want to hear, and then he's going to another group and saying exactly the opposite. I won't be doing that. I'll take a clear stand based on moral clarity. So let's address this allegation against Israel. I find it incredible that these countries have not accused Hamas of genocide when it's in Hamas's charter that they want to commit genocide against Israel. We don't even need to accuse Hamas because they admit that they are a genocidal enterprise. They admit that their October 7th attacks were motivated by genocidal aims. They are backed by the Iranian government, which seeks to annihilate the entire Jewish people. And not to mention that, if we want to go after genocide targeting Muslims, why are they not bringing a case against China for its persecution of the Uyghur Muslims who are in concentration camps in that country? Why are they not going after Bashar al-Assad, who's been carrying out a genocide against Sunni Muslims in that country? Of course, because this is not about genocide, it is about shamelessly and dishonestly attacking the Jewish people and the Jewish state, and the Conservative Party stands against this dishonest approach.
Thank you. Next question.
Steve Lambert from the Canadian Press. You mentioned in your opening remarks the the fact the government was warned 2 years ago about the impact of immigration on housing prices. A lot of the pressure seems to come from the temporary resident stream. What would a Conservative government do in terms of the impact of immigration and temporary residents on housing?
Well, first of all, I find it incredible that CP didn't even mention the name Sean Fraser in its article on this issue. Because Sean Fraser was the Minister of Immigration when the government warned him that his policies were leading to housing price inflation. And now Justin Trudeau has promoted him to Housing Minister. You wonder why you can't afford a home? Well, there's your answer right there. Because Justin Trudeau named Sean Fraser due to his ability to generate media puff pieces and do photo ops rather than make housing affordable. Justin Trudeau's policies, whether it's printing money or funding government gatekeepers that block home building, or failing to make the link between the number of homes and the population growth, have doubled housing costs after he promised to lower them. Common sense conservatives will get back to an approach of immigration that invites a number of people that we can house, employ, and care for in our healthcare system. Obviously, you need to build homes if you're going to bring in people. And right now, we're not building enough homes. We are building 200,000 homes a year. We built fewer homes last year than we built in 1972, 50 years ago, when our population was half of what it is now. We need to make a link between the number of homes built and the number of people we invite as new Canadians.
Thank you. This will be the final question.
Good morning. APTN National News. Will a Conservative government support the searching of landfills in Winnipeg for the remains of murdered and missing Indigenous women?
We think that every effort needs to be made to find the remains of murdered and missing Indigenous women and to protect Indigenous women from future violence. We also want criminal justice reforms that will ensure that First Nations and Indigenous people are safe and protected, just as all Canadians are, so we never have tragedies like this again. Thank you. All right, merci beaucoup. Bonne année. Happy New Year.